Hello everybody, it's Nathan, and today I would like to talk about a series that doesn't get much attention anymore. It's a spin-off of a show that's supposed to be educational, but it takes a darker take on it. Of course, the series that I'm talking about is the one and only Cells at Work Code Black. I'm going to be referring it as Code Black from now on so I don't get confused with the main series. The importance of the story it tries to build is even more significant than the original series. How can you set up a world if it's just a human body? It's more of the characters that tell the story in the world in and of itself. That's exactly where Code Black shines. And the pure fact of everything leading up to the seventh volume, after the first arc, which is the first two, the volume 3 and on, sets up to the fight we get in the seventh, is actually pretty fantastic. Of course, there's an eighth volume, which is the final volume. I have not read it yet, so the whole entire mindset I have is coming from a point of view of someone who's only read up to the end of volume 7. And my whole entire point of this video is the whole entire idea of sticking with it and you'll see results. Because there's I forget which volume it is, but you see like cells slowly starting to give up, and it's not until the main character actually steps in and says, we need to do this job. It's basically the whole time motivation. It's because the main character has experience in the body before the blood transfusion, which is the end of season 2. No, the end of season 1, I'm sorry. I wish there was a season 2. But I would also like to go on this overall idea of the meaning of setting up a fight slowly over time. Because you see like bits and pieces of this new body's like overall story, as in you see some of the illnesses they're fighting. There's even a whole entire chapter about brushing teeth. Yes, that's the whole chapter. It was actually a really good chapter. I should really take care of my teeth a little bit more, but that's neither here nor there. But the pure fact, you get little mini conflicts slowly building up, and I think it was volume 6, we see a cell that was trying to apply for a job. I believe in the lungs, and then you see the cell get denied, like, you can't work here. And of course, because you know about this body's conflict and everything, just to see the cell that wants to do work, it's been trying to actually get a job, and once they apply for the interview and get fired, you see the tension in that cell, and that cell slowly begins to like change. And that brings us to volume 7, which is the actual war, because that cell that was denied work, denied their job, got so angry they actually became a cancer cell. And the depiction of a war arc, especially in this post like educational type series, this does not hold back. This focuses more on the seinen war, because take all the wars that I've recently read. My Hero Academia, for the short amount of conflict we actually get in Code Black, I still prefer this over everything that happened in My Hero Academia. And mostly because, yes, you in My Hero Academia, you kind of know the two sides are going to clash. But here, the main character only meets the cell that turns into a cancer cell, I think, 1 or 2 times beforehand. It's something like you really need to build tension, and for the run of this series, it does it actually perfect. There's no tournament arc, because why would there be? This is a human body. But it's very interesting how they choose to depict some of the stuff. Like I mentioned, the teeth brushing episode. It was kind of like, I never looked at brushing my teeth that way, how they showed it, but it makes sense. And the pure fact that you see like other cells the main character, red blood cell, like interacts with, you see him start to change the world around him. And you also see a hint of like, I don't think it's actually on this actual volume, but they do warn. Let me actually find the warning if it actually is in this volume or not. No, it is not. But some of the volumes I remember having like the warning about suicide or something like that. Because it's true, this series does go into topics like how do the cells like act once you intentionally stop function, and how they kind of like fight to keep everything alive and stuff like that. Like in the first arc, when they're in the original body, they were fighting against that cardiac arrest that changed that body's like whole environment. The person started to live better after that. But in but the latter part of Code Black, you see multiple instances like fighting, like I said before, because the human tried to like overdose on like sleep medicine. You see the cells wanting to not deliver whatever the sleep medicine, but it's their job. They have to. And then it's like a weird dichotomy of sorts. Then you have the actual, what happens in, I think, this volume, where you see cells sacrificing for each other. You do see a bit of that in the first arc, what was covered in season 1 of the anime, but I feel like it's more pronounced here because you've had more time to like grow and attach to these certain characters. There's one point in the story where one of the toes get amputated, and there's another one where a bit of the lung gets chopped off. A bit of one of the lungs completely gets chopped. I think that's actually in this war. I'm very interested to see how Code Black decides to end. Mostly because as much as some people can find stuff like this boring, I didn't like the mandatory watch a cartoon try to depict health. But this and the original series, they're way good. The pure fact of these are just characters. They humanize the cells. I do like how they have like this idol group in Code Black. I forget, is it to wake up the brain or stop for the brain to fall asleep? It's one or the two. But that's very interesting how they choose to like show everything. Again, I'm not a medical health expert. I'm just going on what I've read and what I've enjoyed from the 7 volumes I've read so far. And when they introduced the liver in the first season, of course, some of you may not know, but I had a liver transplant. So I was somewhat expecting the liver to actually be like sectioned off a bit. But of course, this body never had a liver transplant in the series, so it makes sense why they wouldn't have that. But it's just something I kind of thought, why don't they do something like that? An organ transplant. If that's the final volume, I'd be interested in seeing something. Like, Code Black is like more dark, intense, but it works. You have the main series, which is more upbeat, happy, stuff like that. Then you have the 2 cancer arcs in that show. But the way this Code Black builds up to it is absolutely flawless. And there's like some, if my wish for like, if we ever get a season 2 of the anime, give it 25 episodes. Adapt it all. That's really all you need. The animation and like everything was perfect. Even have the author for Code Black come in to do a few like time gap, like episode filler kind of things to like pad out the episodes. They did that in season 1. I was so happy about that. Then I realized they are bonus chapters in the manga. Just go ahead, adapt it all in another season, do some like filler bits. You can get a whole nother season, a 2-course season out of the rest of this. Even though the first like arc is 10 chapters, they stretched that out to 13 easily. Go ahead and like do some anime magic and give us a 25 episode season 2. It's easy. Well, not easy, but theoretically it should be like easy with the amount of content we have. And I think this about wraps up my overall thoughts and opinions of Social Work Code Black. But I would like to see what you guys think in the comment section down below. And this is Nathan signing out. Everyone, have a great day.